Recently, I've been doing videos showcasing tier 8 ships that I think are worth grinding for, and that list would not be complete right now without the Duncan. This is subject to change, of course. When the St. Vincent finally comes to the game, there may be no need to play Duncan anymore. If you haven't delved into these British battle cruisers, you're in for a treat. They are an utterly unique experience from any other battleship line in the game. Massive heals? Check. Just take a look at this Duncan heal. 30,080 health. Don't quote me on this, but that is likely the best heal in the game in some regards. That's more health than the Conqueror gives you back. Hard-hitting guns. Wonky Sigma, but it's redeemed by battlecruiser dispersion, so they're mostly accurate and they do hit hard with HE and AP. And speed. 32 knots is fast on Duncan, but it gets better with a speed boost in a flag. You can be cruising at 35 knots. And of course, the chance you'll explode at any moment. We'll talk more about that here shortly, but let's take a look at the build. The only change from my usual setup is using damage control system in slot 2 to help the survivability out a little bit. Prop mod comes stock on Brit battleships, so that's why we're not using it. I've been sticking with the John Fisher reload build, and it's suited me well on this ship and the Hawk before it. Dance with Death, of course, is very strong. As you lose health, you get a faster reload, and it can become a pretty big buff during middle and late games. Add D. Ravel and the Azerlane Colorado Commander for inspirations, and yeah, you got a pretty fast reload. Colorado helps the grouping, which this battle cruiser needs, but if you're free to play, you could also use Ding Rusheng to finish out your reload build. These ships are all about how you play them, and as we're sailing out to the flank on Two Brothers, let me explain why. The ship has very light armor. A 25mm bow can be overmatched by 15-inch guns, and the Citadel situation is scary. It's about as bad as Marlborough. If you get caught in a turn or don't angle correctly, you will get sunk very, very fast. The big heals we talked about and the best effective HP pool at tier 8, it doesn't matter if you're dead. And also worth noting, yeah, you've got awesome super heals, but they're not going to help you against Citadel hits. It's an amazing super heal, but it's not as good as Minotaur in that regard. And I can't remember all the statistics. Minotaur can heal back something like 50% of Citadel damage or something the first time. I don't know. It gets very convoluted, and honestly, I just don't have the brain space anymore. But I mean, awesome super heals, just not Minotaur good. So we're going to use our speed to get to the flank, and for the most part in this game, try to stay moving as much as possible. I looked earlier, we have an Odin with us, and a lot of times at the beginning of matches, if I'm in a battleship, I try to figure out what my friendly battleship is going to do so that I can position away from them. Because you want to set up crossfires, that is the name of the game in battleships, and that is how you are going to win matches. So Odin, I get the feeling that I'm going to be heading for the flank, and I don't know that he is so much. So that is the strength of Duncan, is to use the speed and get these 9 powerful 406mm guns out to the flank. I would say the ship is not a brawler, but that would kind of be wrong. Honestly, this is a great mid-range brawler. Worth pointing out on Duncan, she has these 2 torpedo launchers on the front of the ship that have nuclear-tipped torpedoes. They hit for almost 30,000 damage apiece. If you connect with them during a brawl, they can be very, very deadly. And that super heal, again, it supports a more aggressive playstyle too, I would say. Now, I should have shot at the Yugamo, but I just hate Cleveland's. And I've really been gunning for this Cleveland guy. And he's playing a dangerous game because Duncan is pretty accurate, and a couple of these AP salvos connect and it could be lights out. I probably should have shot at the Yugamon, but anyways. What I need to do right now is go dark. I need to go dark so that I can continue heading for the flank. So we're gonna heal all of these fires and try to get out this way. My big fear here is that the Minnesota is going to look this way, because one Minnesota salvo in a turn like this and it's game over. It's lights out. Luckily, he was aiming at our cruiser over there on the other side of D, so we pulled this off. Now, I made a mistake right there. Well, probably a lot of mistakes, sure, yeah. But the big mistake was popping that heal. I should have left my health lower, because with Dance with Death, I would have kept a faster reload, and then I could have just popped the heal when I needed it. So that was a little bit of a mistake. It's one of the things you should do on this Fisher reload build is only use the heal when it's completely necessary. I don't know how much of a reload buff that I just lost right there by healing back that, high 20,000 or 30,000 health, but it was very significant. So yeah, so pay attention to that and be better than me. This game it's starting off okay, but it's going to take a turn for the worse really quickly. This flank is pretty hot and heavy, which I don't mind for now because Two Brothers can be so hit or miss when it comes to that. I have a real love-hate relationship with this map. Sometimes you come to a flank and you don't have anyone to fight or to play against, and you're just kind of stuck playing the sailing simulator because this map is so segmental. You have A side, you have mid, you have D side, and each part of the map is very isolated from the other. I'm happy that we at least have some friends to play with over here, but it's gonna take a turn for the worse very quickly. As you can see, our Odin is doing his best Leroy Jenkins impersonation against a Minnesota, a Carl, a Ugamo, and a Cleveland. Odin has some pretty decent armor, but no ship is going to stand up against that kind of onslaught. Kaga just got first blood on our Heathen on the other side of the map, and then with our Odin going down here soon, we're going to be down 2 battleships just 5 minutes into this match, and that is not good. I'm kind of just biding my time here because what am I going to do? I can't rush headlong into 4 battleships, so we're just kind of biding our time. Now, what I'm thinking right now is that we need to see where the Ugamo is. If there's any possibility of getting him spotted, if our CV could fly over and get him spotted, that would be great. Worth noting, this game, this replay, is actually pretty old. This game was played before the carrier rework, so when our CV flies over, I will get to see where the Ugamo is. And also worth noting, like their Kaga on the enemy team, it's not the super buffed Kaga that has infinite plane regeneration after the CV rework in 2024. So yeah, this game it's a little bit of a different dynamic because of the changes, but still it gets the point across of what Duncan can do, and we're gonna have a fun one. We're just getting started. So I'm kind of waiting to see if we can spot where the Yugi is. Of course, I really want to kill the Cleveland because killing Clevelands is God's work. But here's what I'm thinking. All right, Yugamo's spotted here. He's heading right towards me. I'm by myself, basically, against 4 ships. Our cruiser has kind of backed behind the island. I want to kill the Cleveland, but I'm also thinking that if I hit the speed boost and come out here, I can catch the Ugamo before he can get away and maybe sink him. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to turn in a little bit just in case torpedoes were launched. We've obviously got a Carl Johan we're going to have to brawl with. There's Yugi. We have a 24-second reload right there, but luckily we got him in the first salvo. The accuracy really didn't look that good, but again, these shells hit very hard. 1 AP shell citadel, I think, is 13,000 or so. So very, very hard. Now we have to play this very carefully because Carl Johan has 8 torpedoes on either side of the ship. We've got some torpedoes of our own, so yeah, we'll see who gets the better of one another in this situation. Now I think Carl already launched the torps on his left side, so we're kind of waiting those out. And any German brawling battleship commander or any battleship brawler, what do you want to do? You obviously want to get the torpedoes off on the other side of your ship. So Carl is going to turn back in, and we're going to try to time our torpedo and our AP salvo to catch him and hopefully take him out, because 8 Carl torpedoes, yeah, that would take us out of the match. These torps are actually a little bit faster than other battle cruiser torpedoes, 67 knots, so I don't know if I had to really lead him that much, but I was concerned that I would miss him, but we got him, and that is 1 Carl Johan down and a Ugamo down, and I was a little distracted, but I believe the Cleveland died. The Minnesota hightailed it to the middle of the map. I'm not sure why. He probably should have stayed on this flank. I wish he would have stayed on this flank because the end of this battle might have turned out differently if he were here close by and I was able to brawl him down as well. Yeah, a little bit of foreshadowing how this one's going to turn out, but still, we need to get this cap and then we can start moving forward a little bit more. Right now, Again, I don't need to hit this heal. I just need to let my reload be pretty fast right now. So we'll see what we do. I don't know if I didn't have my cup of coffee yet at this point. Yeah, there we go. I wasted that damage buff there. So don't do that. Be better than Derka. I just clearly wasn't thinking that well. We get a pretty good salvo on the Minnesota there before he gets around the corner. And yeah, we're just going to be heading towards their flank, their spawn, to try to salvage this one. Now this ship is pretty squishy, of course, so you definitely have to rely on the heals and staying alive in that regard. Armor angling is a big thing. You have a 30mm upper belt and side plating in deck, so you can angle against 406mm guns. You just have to be very careful. Battleship players who know what they're doing, they can aim for your nose and deal a lot of damage that way. I had a brawl against a Republic before this game, and he knew what he was doing, so armor angling can be difficult if you are playing against good players. The AP, it's devastating. It smashes broadsides, although sometimes I find the accuracy is kind of silly. The 1.6 Sigma that's a pretty low shell grouping number, although the battle cruiser dispersion does make it a little bit better. And hey, maybe it's my own fault for being greedy and going all reload, and that is a debate for sure. Would you rather have volume of fire of a reload build, or would you rather have more pinpoint accurate salvos and just wait longer between salvos? I don't know that I could necessarily answer that, but I would be curious what your guys' thoughts are down below, so definitely let me know. What I would say is I feel like having the faster reload reduces the effects of RNG a little bit as we come across a Brest here. This French Tier 8 cruiser also has a very squishy nose, and we are definitely going to take advantage of that. Let's see here. I don't know if he's even noticed that I'm here yet. Hello, sir, over here. But yeah, we're going to aim right at his nose and see if we can punch through and overmatch him. Aim down a little bit since he's coming forward. Let's see. We got 4 pins, 2 shatters. Not bad. I think in one more salvo we will have him. And we turned out just in time because a salvo from that French AP absolutely could have taken us out. But yeah, it's the age-old debate. Say I have a 36-second reload on the Marco Polo. I'm going to really need a good RNG roll for that salvo to smash, or I could be in trouble, if that makes sense. Compared to, say, a battleship with a 24-second reload, it takes the gambling out of it a little bit in a way because you have more odds of getting a good salvo. So for me personally, I'm leaning more towards reload builds as I make another terrible mistake. I should not have turned into Kagatorps, but I suppose I was looking at the scoreboard at this point of the game and seeing that the enemy has 760 points. So turning out here, I don't know. I don't know if it would have turned out differently. Obviously, I probably should have, not to take the Kaga salvo or to be in range of Brandenburg's secondaries here. But again, I'm just looking that we have 3 minutes left and they are 200 points ahead of us. So honestly, this game's probably over regardless of what we had done here, but still. Anyways. The anti-aircraft. Obviously, we want to talk about that after the carrier rework. Worth noting, like we said, this game was recorded before that, but what I would say is the ship's AA is not really incredible. It's not as bad as the Musashi or the Hizen, of course, but don't count on the AA, and the DFAA is honestly just for looks. Kaga's only getting 1 drop off, but those are probably the softest planes up here at higher tiers, and we're still going to catch 1. We still caught 2 torpedoes in a flood, so unfortunately this game is about to be over for us, but I would say don't rely on the AA or don't rely on the DFAA. You might want to be around friendly ships that have a better AA bubble if you feel like you're going to get focused down. The other amazing statistic of this ship, S tier stat, concealment. It's honestly one of the most important stats of battleships. And in Duncan, it's super important. At the beginning of this game, when we needed to go dark over by decap, turn out and get to the flank, it was huge that we had a 15.4 kilometer stock concealment. That's spectacular. That is one of the best battleships at tier 8. And without it, the ship would be pretty handicapped. You kind of have to rely on that so that you can go dark, get your heals off, and reposition. Unfortunately, the Kaga is coming back here to finish me off, and that is going to be the end of this game. But overall, it was a good result, and I really, really like the Duncan. It's a lot of fun when you can get it in a brawl, and yeah, I enjoy it a lot. I am, of course, curious what you guys think of these Brit battle cruisers. Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. This is Derka signing off. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.